Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we've got great news from iniBuilds as they have released the next update of the Airbus A350 and made a huge announcement in regards to the sounds of the aircraft. But let's start at the very beginning and have a look at what we can find in today's update. In general, the pace of updates with the A350 is going to slow a little bit since they have implemented all the major features that they wanted to add, such as the ULR, the heads-up display, and so on. But nonetheless, they have just announced another major feature that is going to come, and that is improved sounds, not to say an almost completely redone sound logic. So iniBuilds have covered or partnered with Echo 19 Audio Productions, who have already done a couple of flight sim products that I have to say do sound quite good, and they are going to deliver a complete sound overhaul for the A350 in all the significant things such as engine sounds, cockpit sounds, environmental audio, and all of that with greater depth and spatial details. Now, that is not included in the present update just yet. They have, however, included a couple of fixes already, such as issues where the flap deployment sound was missing and the landing gear sound. So things start getting underway there, and a complete overhaul is coming in the future. Now, from here on, let's move a little bit into some of the items that we have on the changelog for the A350. First of all, there are some improvements to the flight management system, and that includes both handling of the secondary flight plan as well as some VNAV features such as crossing speed limit pseudo waypoints, which didn't always work properly beforehand, and also some improvements to the FLS logic. Now, iniBuilds have also worked a lot on the WASM crashes, and they have been able to reproduce and address several WASM-related crashes that were affecting specific scenarios. For example, issues with custom waypoint entries and certain procedures, such as the ANF and the arrival into NZWP. Now, quite a couple of things solved there. However, always remember, guys, WASM crashes are pretty hard to actually recreate. So if you experience one, do contact the iniBuilds support and give them as many details as you possibly can so that they're able to solve the particular problem that you guys may be encountering. Now, from here on, we do also have some improvements in the heads-up display in today's update. However, some more are still going to come in the future. So, for example, they have corrected the chevron energy behavior, and they have corrected the minimum indications and made some adjustments to the heads-up display's field of view and perspective for better alignment with the sim environment. That's been included now, but more updates to the HUD are going to come in the future. Now, something that I really like is that they have worked on the brake logic, and they have not just improved the brake to vacate system, which did have a couple bugs beforehand that have been fixed now, such as, for example, an issue where BTV was incorrectly shown on the FMA when taxiing below 10 knots. But on top of that, they have also worked on the brake's thermodynamics, namely the cooling of the brakes. Now, Airbus aircraft are notoriously known for getting hot brakes very, very quickly, and the A350 is no exception there. Basically, after a normal landing, you can expect temperatures in the range of about 300 to 400 degrees centigrade. And brake cooling is now much more accurately modeled with slower cooling rate that better reflect the ambient conditions. So basically the brakes are going to heat quickly, but they are not going to cool that quickly, which really is an Airbus thing. Now, just to give you an example, this is not the A350, this is the A330 now, but when you arrive at the gate after a normal landing, you usually have brake temperatures in the region about 300 degrees, maybe sometimes 350, and about 2 hours later, when the aircraft departs again, the brakes will have cooled to about between 50 and 100 degrees. So that's just to give you an idea of the rate of cooling that you can expect with Airbus brakes during those 2-hour turnarounds that you do on those wide-body aircraft. Now, apart from that, iniBuilds have included quite a couple of other fixes as well in the backend systems that improve realism, for example, in the electrical, hydraulics, or pressurization system. And another addition is an improved engine seizure logic. The engine will now seize probably when oil runs out, adding an extra layer of realism for those flying in more challenging scenarios. And that's actually quite interesting one. Remember, the airplane does save, or rather has the ability to save your oil quantities, and especially when you fly long haul, it burns through the oil very, very quickly. So you really got to take that preliminary pre-flight preparation serious and cross-check the oil quantities you have on board and refill if necessary. As a general rule of thumb on those long haul aircraft, they do fill the oil up before every flight. So normally when you do go on a long haul, even at the outstation, they will have engineers who can top up the oil. So that's something that you should consider doing as well. Now, apart from that, they have also refined the vent and avionics door systems, which now affect the cabin pressurization. And that's a pretty interesting one. So basically, when the doors are open, and with that I mean the vent and avionic door systems, when those are open, the airplane will have a pressure loss of approximately 2,000 feet a minute when the vent system is active. So that's definitely something that you should take into consideration. Now, on the electrical side, they've also done something interesting that pilots are using quite a lot, at least I do. And that's the fact that the yellow electric hydraulic pump ECAM message now displays correctly when the cargo doors are being opened or closed. And generally, when you're sitting in the cockpit, you're waiting for the ground services to continue, your first indication that the services are complete is that this ECAM message comes on the yellow elec hydraulic pump, because that tells you that they have started closing the cargo doors. So pretty nice seeing that one. Now, apart from that, a couple of you have also complained that the ground power unit doesn't always spawn when you load the airplane up at the gate, and that's now been fixed, and the GPU is now always available. Apart from that, they have also worked on the electronic flight bag, or the OAS as it is correctly called in the A350, and it now should be able to display the en route charts even across long 15-hour plus flights that you do in real time. So I'm sure many of you will remember that issue where the en route chart just went black when you flew. This should be fixed now and should be able to load it continuously. For some users, there have also been some problems where it continuously locked out of Navigraph throughout a flight. That's been solved as well now, so that it should stay locked in. Now, the exterior light also sees a couple of improvements where they are better visible, especially in twilight conditions, and especially the smaller lights, such as the ones located in the wingtip assemblies, will now be much more visible and clearer from distance, especially during daytime. Now, the cabin's also seen an update in that the fasten seatbelt sign now functions correctly inside the cabin. And on top of that, there are a lot of smaller issues that have been worked on that have been fixed now. And if you do want to see the changelog, then I do recommend to have a look at the iniBuilds forum, where you can find the full changelog, as well as some even more detailed descriptions of the items that we have just talked about in this video. Now, do download the latest update of the A350. Remember to clear your WASM folder before you go flying with it. A tutorial for that is available in the iniBuilds forum as well. You do want to do that. It really does avoid many issues that you may otherwise experience. At least that's my personal experience, and that's what iniBuilds writes in their forums as well. And with all of that out of the way, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope that you guys are going to like this update, but now it's up to you. Let me know how you like it in the comments underneath. I'm really looking forward to it. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And with that out of the way, I'm looking forward to see you guys on the next one.